Erik Ten Hag at United, now I don't think he's going to be under any pressure because it's his first season, but where's he got to finish for people to go, yes, it's been a success, Crookie? Or do you think it's just about this season, him getting his squad where he wants it to be? Because I think pre-season, some of the players you'd have to say last season have looked quite sharp. Jane and Sancho look quite sharp. Rashford, Martial.
Even Maguire, who was booed in one of the games, has had a pretty good pre-season campaign so far. Listen, you can't read too much into pre-season. Obviously, United hammered Liverpool, but that will be very different, I'm sure, when they play at Old Trafford in a few weeks' time. Although I'm going to that game, taking my two sons, and I just said to you guys out there, and it raised a bit of laughter, I'm not going there expecting to be beaten. I've been impressed by Erik Ten Hag. I think I like his demeanour, the sort of sour face, the disciplinarian. I was told that one senior player was 30 seconds late for a video meeting and he absolutely read the riot act. That's what United have been in need of probably for 3 or 4 years now. And you watch the videos, and I think it's a masterstroke actually from the Manchester United social media team to actually put out the training videos, and you can see that he's on the backs of players. You can see how demanding he is. For the first time in years, this group of players are being properly coached by a proper manager. And I think, and I said it a couple of weeks ago, and again I got scoffed at, I think United will be a lot better this season. And what's the minimum aim? For me, it's getting in the top 4 and winning a trophy. I think they've got to target winning that Europa League. That would guarantee them a place in the Champions League, and to get a trophy in his first season would be a brilliant achievement for Ten Hag. I really like the guy.
What do you think, Daz?
I like him. I do, and I've heard a lot of people talk about this discipline that he's bringing to the club. I think it starts off that way. Of course it does. I've been with managers, you have, Daz, where managers come in and they have to take control, they have to take charge, and that's exactly what he's done. I don't think he'll always be this way. I think he'll mellow out a little bit. I think he has to. But you have to start winning. If you start winning games and playing well, he'll mellow out. And you look and listen. I listened to a bit of Bruno Fernandes's interview, and he agrees with him. He likes him. And you're absolutely right. Players that Man United had last season looked like they needed someone to come in and take full control, because they didn't have that. And I agree. They need to be back competing for the top 4. Whether they get in it, I don't know. They need to be competing with it. And maybe the Europa League. And There's no better chance this season with under Ten Hag to go and try and win that Europa League. I think it'll be good.
You say that about the top 4 as well, but you've got to look at the teams in and around them as well that are improving. Arsenal improving, Spurs making signings. I mean, they're improving. So I think even if Manchester United do improve, which I expect they can't have another season like they did last season, I don't think it's a given.
They're still struggling.
It's still not given they get into that top 4.
Yeah.
No, it's not a given because it's so competitive. We've spoken about that, but I think a lot of focus has been on the transfer window, and actually, as we sit here now, United have had a disappointing transfer window compared to those teams that you've mentioned. There's been a struggle to get the Frankie de Jong deal.
What is going on
over
there?
the line? Just the two really headline signings, I guess, in Eriksen, who was a free agent, and Martinez. They've brought in a left back in Malacia for the future as well. But they need more surgery. But I think also when he was offered the job, the United hierarchy said, look, there's a lot of players in this football club who've been underperforming for too long. And you've mentioned the names there, Rashford, Sancho, Maguire. They're players that I think he will get the best out of. And actually, I think it's an exciting prospect, particularly at the top end of the pitch. If you get Sancho and Rashford back to their very best, I think they can compete with those teams that you've mentioned.
I've got a question for you, Crook, actually. So you're right there. Martial has come back, and to be fair play to him, didn't go quite well in his loan spell, but he's come back pre-season, looks sharp. Rashford looks up. Sancho looks sharp. What happens then when Ronaldo comes back? What do you do with that situation? Do you drop him just straight back in the middle? Or is
No. Listen, this is a guy who's not had a pre-season. I know he's an elite athlete and he is as fit as they come.
He looked ripped on social media.
Yeah, but there's a difference. There's a difference between being gym fit and being match fit. And you'll know if you miss parts of pre-season because of injury, then you're playing catch up. The season starts in 2 weeks' time. So even if he returns to training soon, and there's no guarantee of that, we still don't know when Ronaldo will be back at Carrington. He won't start the opening games of the season. He'll be on the bench at best.
It will be interesting to see how strong and powerful Ten Hag is when he does return and he does come back and probably smash all his pre-season test results, which he will do. We know that. Like you said, he's an elite athlete, one of the best. I know he's coming up to, 37, 38 that he's going to be.
He is in some shape.
Such shape, and he will. He'll be fit, he'll be ready to go, and he'll be demanding that he plays. I've no doubt. So it'll be interesting to see there. whether he is powerful as a manager and whether
I think
he just
he can
says,
handle it.
that's it, I
You
can
think
handle
so?
this.
I think
it's
he'll put
done.
him on the bench.
He would have never been able to deal with a player. He's never in his career, and listen, he's a top guy. He's never dealt with someone
No.
as powerful as this.
Yep.
You arguably talk about one of the greatest players of all time.
If we sit in now then, as we just discussed there, what do you feel Manchester United's best way into the Champions League is? Do you think their best chance is to make top 4 next season or to win the Europa League?
Probably to win the Europa League, just because of the competition that we've spoken about. I think you're right. I think
Laguna's in there.
I think Liverpool and City are guaranteed. I think Chelsea are having a difficult window. Thomas Tuchel really frustrated after they were hammered by Arsenal overnight. I'm interested by the Tottenham additions because I think the well-held view, the wider view is that they've had a good window, and I think they have. But they've also signed 1 or 2 players that maybe you can question. The attitude of Jed Spence. He did brilliantly at Forest last year, but it's a huge step up from there to the Premier League. And we know that neither Neil Warnock or Chris Wilder really wanted him at Middlesbrough. So that's a situation that Antonio Conte needs to get a hold of. Obviously, you've got Perisic, who isn't that young. How will he adapt to the Premier League? Fraser Forster as a backup goalkeeper. What kind of impact will that have in the dressing room? I think Yves Bissouma probably is the one that you would say is going to be a guaranteed success. But even him, if you're talking about kicking yourself onto the elite level, and I think he's a wonderful player, there are certain elements of his game that he needs to work on. He doesn't score enough goals, doesn't provide enough assists, and I think Conte will want him to be a more rounded midfielder maybe than he was at Brighton. So, and it's going to take time to gel. So I'm not 100% sold on all of Tottenham's business so far this summer. I mean, clearly the most important piece of business, they've kept Harry Kane, and we'll talk about him and the links to Bayern Munich later. But with him and Son, we saw what they could do to defences at the end of last season. But yeah, I don't think it's a shoo-in that Tottenham will be that much closer to Man City and Liverpool. In fact, when he was asked the question during their tour, can you challenge for the title, I think Conte laughed.